Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I hit 42 and I figured it is time to try to go back to the City of Mist and try to get some XP there. But before I did that, I decided to go to East Commons and upgrade some gear. There's a few pieces of gear that I have been saving up for that I wanted to replace, so I figured now is as good a time as any to do it because when I went to the City of Mist, I want to make sure that I have a good go at it gear-wise. First piece of gear I wanted to replace is the last piece of bandit that I had, the belt, and I was able to find a FBSS, so it was really good, and I was really happy to finally get rid of the last piece of bandit and get an FBSS. I've always been wanting one for some time, so yay to that. The next piece I wanted to do is I wanted to replace the silver-plated bracer. I wanted to get another granite bracer, just like the other one I have, for the stamina and the strength. I'm still going to keep the silver-plated bracer because of the saves, but I figured the other one, the granite bracer, two of them would be best for tanking. Also, I was able to get a cougar claw earring, so now I have a decent earring, and it's one of the ones I wanted. And finally, I found another person that had another cougar claw earring. So I went ahead and picked that cougar claw earring up. So now I have two. I'm really happy about that because I really wanted that extra dex. The final piece I wanted to get for now was some Crested Spaulders. I wanted to replace the bloodstained mantle for tanking. I still am keeping the bloodstained mantle. I do like the strength that it has and the saves, but the Crested Spaulders had the extra stamina, a bit more AC. So I wanted to get those. Unfortunately, I couldn't find those at all. Nobody was selling them. So a guildie recommended that I just go to Mistmore and get them myself. So I headed to West Commons, found a druid, and caught me a ride out to Butcherblock Mountains. Once I landed at Butcherblock Mountains, it was time for me to head to Mistmore. When you get to Mistmore, the Avenging Caitiff is the mob that drops the Spaulders. You have to go through the graveyard. There's a hidden drop-off in the cemetery in the, I don't know what you'd call it, like not tomb, maybe like a tomb. I don't know. And it's been a while since I've actually only dropped down there once, exploring on a rogue way back when, so I didn't remember where exactly the entrance was to the the drop off. But so it took me a little bit to find it, but I eventually found it. When you go up the ramp, you'll come across a room with several doors. Don't open those doors, it's a trap. All the doors open up and the mobs will attack you. There's a hidden wall to the right, so you want to look for that, and it'll take you up some more stairs. Now, it's on these stairs that the Avenging Caitiff will spawn. If he's not up, it's either going to be a Deathly Usher or a Will Pillager. Those are the placeholders. It's a 23-minute spawn timer, and so it did, I had to kill a couple of placeholders. The problem is, being so big, I have to kill the mobs outside because I couldn't fight on the inside. So if you're a big race, just keep that in mind. The mob finally spawned. Let's kill him, and fingers crossed, hopefully he drops the Crested Spaulders I'm looking for. Well, alright, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Mission achieved. Finally, after getting the Spaulders, it's time to head to a Druid Ring and head on over to Emerald Jungle. Cedar Mist is located in the Emerald Jungle. It's a very vast, dense, and highly dangerous zone, especially for my level. There are a lot of just really kind of creepy looking mobs in this zone. There is actually a mixture of undead and living mobs here. So something you need to be careful of is you cannot just cast invisibility or invis versus undead on yourself and run. There's a chance that you could aggro something, so you have to keep an eye out. Now, once you port in, you just want to head northeast, and generally speaking, you should hit the city if you head in that direction. Just be careful. After a brisk jog through the jungle, we finally made it to the City of Mist. First thing on the agenda now is to get myself a bind. What's different about this dungeon is it's actually a city, and everybody can be bound here, which is good and bad. Sometimes there are trains, so when you're bound at the entrance, sometimes you might run the risk of getting a train on you when you log in. So the rule of thumb is to bind on the right side, and if you're having a train, exit out on the right as you're leaving so that one side is clear from the other. Doesn't always happen, but that's the general rule of thumb. The city of Mist is basically broken up into four main areas. As soon as you go through to the right, there's the temple. To the left, on the opposite side, is generally where the stables are, where a lot of the lower people go, like myself. In the middle is the arena. There's a lot of mobs inside the building that people pull from, and some of the surrounding buildings. And in the back, there is the moat. I don't have any footage of the moat because nobody was actually XPing there, so it wasn't clear for me to show anything. When I first got here, I couldn't get a group, so I left to go get some bone chips, but I was shortly contacted by Feifel, who you see in my group. He was getting together a group to go to City of Mist, and I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So I was already, in the area. I went to City of Mist and waited for them to arrive. One of the people in the group, Oz, Dream, he died. I had to run out and grab his corpse. But once we all got set up, we took over the stables and just did some really great pulling. What was awesome is also there was a viewer of the channel, Dreer. You'll see him in the group too. It was really good to be able to group with him as well. Always, like I said, always like being able to group up with some of the people that watch videos. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so it was first time for me pulling here, and things were not too bad. There's one other group in the temple, and there was nobody else. So it was just the stables and the temple group. Although I did notice there was a couple of times where some of the mobs were a little contested, or I don't think it was the other group in the temple that was doing that. To be honest with you, I think there was a couple of guys that just came in and were trying to do their own thing, and they just kind of messed up. Like for instance, there was a time when I died. Actually, I have footage of. Pop that up. Where I was going to pull these goos, and this bard came through and just pulled the goose right in front of me. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's fine. You get those, or I'll just try to find something else. And as I was running back to the stables just to see if anything popped, like two or three of the goose were there that he pulled, and I guess he died because they were heading back, and they were just past the stables. So I aggroed them on the way back to the stables, and unfortunately, I did die. But it's EverQuest. It happens from time to time. I'm not really mad at it because I mean, I had a cleric and he had a 50% res, and I wasn't gonna take that, but apparently one of his guildies showed up, and they were in the temple group, and he actually had a 90% res. So I was able to get a 90% res. So it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't too bad. One of the things I was trying to figure out was like, okay, so we're here. We've got a really great amount of chain pulling going on. What's the XP like? And I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely certain that like the XP here grouping is better than when I was soloing some guards. If you're like soloing, I mean, yeah, you get to pull a lot more, a lot quicker, and kill them a lot quicker. But the XP is dispersed, from my understanding, among everybody in the group. So now I don't know if maybe this zone's Zem was nerfed or it's just not as much, but I had trouble kind of trying to figure out how the XP gain was between here and just soloing. It didn't really seem like there was much of a difference, or at least much of a huge benefit of grouping. Now that's not to say I didn't find any benefit grouping. I met some really nice people. The people in my group, they were absolutely lovely, and hopefully I'll be able to group with them again. You know, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if anybody knows, please, post it in the comments. I'm always still learning about this game. I've played this game for a long time. Different servers, different characters and such, but there's still a lot to this game. I don't know, some of this stuff. So yeah, if anyone knows kind of like a breakdown, like basically if it's better or not, more beneficial, if you will, minus the social aspect of it, which is fantastic in my opinion. So yeah, let me know. Anyway, guys, this group has been really good. Not really, no drops, but I wasn't really here for the drops, to be honest with you. I was just here for the XP and the fun, and to get the footage, because I really hadn't had any footage of City of Mist, and I've brought all my higher level characters here, which is only like 2, 3. Oh, and you know what? That's right. I have that really fail video I made of me trying to solo charm here in City of Mist. That was terrible. That's why I don't play an enchanter. Anyway, I think I'm going to call this a video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to y'all again next time. Bye now.